Hey guys, yeah, down here with DJ, doing a bit of a film on the new Wisefab version 2 kit. Just installed that in this one a couple of weeks ago. Had it testing out at the drift school, and then we just competed in round 2 Drift West Outlaws series on Saturday. So yeah, it's had a good test, and yeah, thought we'd run through a few of the differences between the new version 2 kit and the old version 1 kit. There's not a lot on the internet about the two kits side by side, so we thought we'd do a video and show you guys the differences and how the two kits work. Coming over to this one here, this one used to run a version 1 kit, so the top of the coilover was here, and used to run like a top plate. You'll see it on the other one, and the outer bit of the top plate bolted here. The new kit, we just put this here to show you, but yeah, the new kit has adjustable, I'll get that out of the way. The new kit has adjustable caster, you can twist it, and then adjustable camber. And yeah, the caster is done just with a normal 1/2 inch. Bang it in the top, loosen these off, and you can bring more caster in or less caster out. To change the camber is still a little bit difficult. You do have to get in there, kind of take it out and reset it. Once it's set, it's set. The ability to change the caster is one of the key reasons why I went with this kit. Also, there's a few differences down low. Down here, the lower control arm now is universal between the R chassis and the S chassis, where before there was a different lower control arm for S13 to S14, 15, and yeah, so now it's a universal lower control arm, which helps a lot if you do have any issues at the track. More than likely, in the future, guys will have, you'll be able to borrow parts off a guy. So that's a good feature. Also, the new design of this is they've taken a little bit of width out of it to give the ability for more lock. Other key factors is now there's nothing on this side of the knuckle where before there was. And yeah, I'm not running the Wisefab crossmember kit at the moment. I do have it and I will put it in. I have my crossmember already modified for around the 25mm rack relocation. So I run IKEA formula steering arms. Yeah, keep everything nice and straight. No rack offset spaces. And yeah, this is all nice and solidly mounted now, where before in the version 1, this is where you would have to adjust your camber, where yeah, now that's been completely deleted. Your camber's now adjusted at the top like a normal one. You still have your lock, your adjustable lock settings, which is down here in you probably can't see it, but yeah, it's down here in a hexagon kind of nut, and you adjust it. I'm currently running lock stop number 4. I find that's pretty good. Yeah, you can go more lock or you can go less lock. Also with this kit, it incorporates a sway bar mount. I believe GK Tech have just released a new sway bar which suits these things. I'm about to install. I've already tested it to see if it would fit, but I just didn't have time to get it in. That was from Brink Industries in USA. They do a high clearance Wisefab sway bar. Yeah, at the moment that is a fairly new kind of feature that not a lot of guys have been running. Yeah, so we'll switch over to the S14 and I'll show you a few of the differences on the version 1 kit on that. This is the version 1 kit here. Got a spare version 1 top. It's a bit unusual to call this thing a name because it's not really a camber top. We'll just call it the top. So yeah, we've got a spare one here. So yeah, this shows you that's that bolt there. Top of your coilover bolts into this one here. Obviously with this one, there is no camber adjustment at the top, no caster adjustment. In this kit particularly, they released a FD legal kit, which gives you the ability to adjust camber but at the same time caster. That kit was a little bit of a rush job and probably was the reason why they brought out the version 2. They released that one and it had a lot of problems with the knuckle binding or hitting the lower control arm, and that's why you'll see a few videos out there with guys that have started to bend their lower control arms in a press. I think the general go is around 15 to 11 degrees. That's to let it to clear. But yeah, so the new kit obviously completely fixes that problem. in my opinion, if you're going for the version 1 kit, you want to stay away from the FD one, stick with the original version 1 kit. It does have the issue of the camber adjustment. We'll get to that in a minute. It is a little bit complicated to do the camber in this kit. It involves pulling your knuckle out, pressing out a bush, and then pushing it back in again where you think it's meant to be. Put the whole car together, put it on the ground, and then you realise you've got to make another small adjustment, back up, pull everything apart. It's a little bit annoying. I've done it quite a few times, but once you get it set, it stays there. So once you get it done, it is done. Just going through a few of the differences on it. We'll drop down, show you down low. You'll notice here the version 1 has all of this section, which kind of works as a lock stop. On the version 2, this is completely deleted. They don't use that anymore. Your camber adjustment is all done up here in the knuckle to coilover attachment. The lower control arm obviously doesn't support a sway bar. If you want to put one in, you have to weld a bracket on there. Also, this lower control arm is only suited to S14, 15. As we mentioned before, the new version 2 suits most of the R chassis and all of the S chassis. This kit here, we're running the same system of your normal rack moved forward with the IKEA formula tie rods. Keeps everything nice and straight. I've never bent one, and yeah, I have pushed a few people with my front wheels. Yeah, where I've seen the factory sort of, or the Wisefab tie rods, because they run that offset, the offset spacer, they do push on a bit of an awkward angle, and yeah, these are a lot stronger, keeps everything nice and straight. So this is my old version 1 kit out of my 180SX. I've been running this one for about a year. So this was where I was telling you guys before about the camber adjustment. You had to do it in here, where this involved this machine. You'd have to put it in here, press this out, and spin it to where you wanted it. So you know, you could bring it over there to change the camber completely to the opposite setting. Obviously, yeah, it would take quite a fair while to do. It involved pulling your car apart. It's not the funnest thing to do, but once you do have it set correctly, it stays there. The new version 2 kit obviously deletes that, makes it much easier. The other one I wanted to show you guys is when I was talking about lock stop settings. I have spoken to a few people, and they're like, you know, I'm like, oh, what lock stop setting do you run on your Wisefab? And they're like, what? Yeah, so here's what we were talking about before with the lock stop settings. So there's a few dots and then the numbers on them. So that's number 6 there. What do we got there? That's number 4. So that's the one I've now started to run on both the cars. Yeah, you loosen this off top and bottom, spin it, make sure it hits evenly on your lower control arm, and that's your lock stop setting. The other feature is the Ackerman settings. So this is the 0 Ackerman washer. You pop these out. So yeah, this is the adjustable Ackerman on Wisefab. So this right here keeps things in a straight line with the lower control arm pivot point. That there is the 0 Ackerman. Obviously, when you pull this one out, the hole is elongated, so this bolt can be moved from various points. To bring more Ackerman or less Ackerman. They come as a washer kit. The washer kits are the same on the version 1 to version 2, so if you've already got Wisefab and you're buying the version 2, you can use your old Ackerman washer kit. They're around, in Australian dollars, around I think $90. So yeah, they are just washers with holes drilled in them. That's probably they're not the best value, to be honest. The ones from your version 1 kit are exactly the same for version 2. We touched on before the rack relocation kit that is optional on the new version 2 Wisefab. Brings the rack forward 46 millimeters, which is, in my opinion, unheard of. Normally 25 to 30 mil is kind of the max you hear of people doing, but yeah, this is 46 millimeters of rack relocation, which is huge. These parts here, these are braces to hold your cross member in while you're doing all the cutting and welding. They get removed afterwards, so don't overthink all of these parts here. It's only this one that gets welded in. Because it gets welded in 46mm forward, obviously your steering column will no longer reach your steering rack. That's where this comes into place. This is a spacer to link your steering column to the rack. The other interesting part, obviously here Wisefab have included a booklet step by step. There's many pages of how to do it all. There's also a great video on the net. A couple of guys have made. They go through the whole process. We'll link that video in this in this video. Yeah, watch that one. They've got it covered. The other one is that Wisefab have the same steering arms from version 1 to version 2. Obviously the version 1 used to incorporate the rack offset spacer. This one, obviously it's in a straight line now, so they've just came up with this thread-on spacer. I don't actually use this setup. As mentioned before, I use the IKEA Formula tie rods. This part here is actually a Volkswagen part. It says it somewhere in your Wisefab book, so you can actually buy this one quite easily. The end piece is a custom Wisefab piece. If you damage that, you're not going to be able to get it unless you order it. I think that's the steering kit explained, other than that little ant there walking across. Thanks, Ant.